Good morning, everyone, and welcome to High Trust Coaching Live. I am Hope Borman. I'm the Divisional President for High Trust Coaching, and I have with me Janelle Nickolas, who is a High Trust coach. So welcome, Janelle.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that I know we were promoting that Janelle was going to be with us last week, and we had a little bit of a snafu with regard to our scheduling, but I think that Janelle just wanted an extra week of promotion to let everybody know she was going to be on this week.
Sure. The suspense waited, right?
Exactly. So for those of you that are joining High Trust Coaching Live for the first time, we bring High Trust Coaching Live every Wednesday morning with our intent to bring value, impact, and maybe even something you can implement into your business to grow a little, maybe grow your business, increase your productivity, or maybe just give you some food for thought. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. And Janelle, I think I want to kick off because you are not new to High Trust by any means, but you're new as a High Trust coach this year. So could you share a little bit about yourself and let everybody get to know you a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you. I am very honored to be here today and humble. I've been in the business over 25 years. I am an assistant vice president, real estate sales manager for a very large credit union in the state of Iowa, so right out there in the Midwest. I have followed Todd throughout my whole career. I know no other way to do this type of business and industry. I've been a long-time follower of him and the high trust methodologies and techniques, and I have just had a blast being a high trust coach since last August. And it's really, like I said, it's been very humbling, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we're so grateful to have you. So Janelle, when we first met, you told me your story about, you mentioned a minute ago that, all you know is high trust methodology and Todd Duncan. How did that come to be?
Well, I got into the industry. I got into the mortgage industry. I was in the financial industry for maybe about 7 years, 8 years. And then I call it a graduation. I graduated into mortgage and, was fortunate to be working in the Midwest here for Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. And, that was my training. That was my first part of my 3 months of training.
Yeah.
And as my career went on and now managing and leading others, had the pleasure of, in December of 2019, attending Sales Academy. I was going to the conventions and I was attending things and always just implementing these things as a habit, and went to the academy, took some of my team, and Todd was talking about some scripting and was talking about, just all the laws throughout those 5 days. And one of my teammates was sitting next to me and she punched me in the arm and she said, "Janelle, you talk like this all the time. Now I know where you get it." And it was like, it was one of those aha moments. I'm like, well, you're right. And it's just been such a habit for me for 25 years that I've not known anything different.
Yeah.
And so now to be, when I'm coaching my own team and I'm coaching my coaching clients now, it's a habit. It's just a very, very easy thing. It's like I don't know anything different, if that all makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And thank you for sharing that story, because it's what we call creating culture, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of our master level coaching members, as well as our elite members, in fact, specifically our elite members, have created the high trust methodologies, business practice, the language, the culture into their own organizations. So that's a very, very, very big part of what we do at High Trust Coaching, is we help them create that culture within their organization so everyone is speaking the same language. And I think that, obviously, as a result of that, everybody's becomes part of that mantra within the organization. Yes.
Most definitely. And it's such an evolution. over time. And, some of our coaching clients, they need to embrace the fact that, this is not going to happen overnight. You have to embrace these methodologies and these techniques, and you need to practice them. And that's one of the things that I know we wanted to talk about here today was the law of the dress rehearsal, and practicing your lines elevates your performance.
Sure.
I mean, it just does.
Yeah.
And I don't care what kind of line of work you're in, or business or industry or anything. If you're not practicing what you are good at, it's never going to become a habit.
That's what we call mastery. Yeah, exactly. That's what we call mastery here. Exactly. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, and Janelle and I are going to jump around, because we know this so well, and we know the industry and what's happening today so well that we want to just make sure we're kind of talking about everything. So Janelle and I are going to go back and forth. But I think the first thing we should be talking about is the conversation around price versus advice. So this is something that's very big at High Trust. So Janelle, talk to us a little bit about why that's important.
Absolutely. It's no mystery to everyone in this industry that over the last year, we've had very low interest rates. And, I'm talking to my coaching clients and even my own team and saying, there's going to be a shift. It's coming. You need to prepare. What are you going to do differently? And one of the biggies is, we saw interest rates over the last couple of weeks tick up a little bit. And I'm sure there's not a person in our industry that didn't go, and that's okay. It's okay. But you know what? That's the time to regroup and step back and say, I need to practice my lines a little bit. I'm getting interest rate calls again. What is this? Kind of thing. So, just again, talking to our coaching clients and talking about, taking price out of the equation and making it be more about advice. That's what we need to do. And that really leads us again into that law of the dress rehearsal. And if you're not practicing your lines to be giving more advice, you're just going to be given price, and you're going to look like all your competition. You're going to look like everybody else. You need to differentiate yourself and cause a disruption in your markets.
Right. I think that so many of our consumers only know to ask that question because they don't know what is more important, and they don't know what they don't know, right? So so what they're conditioned to have as asking, what is your rate? And I think that our approach is that's an important question, and one we'll definitely get to. But let's talk about some other things that are a bit more important right now, and what is truly important, and what's important to you about the financing of your home or of your new purchase, right? So we start getting into that High Trust interview, and they start to learn. So we're basically teaching them and learning. Because our role, I think in High Trust, or what we teach our coaching members, is our role is to make sure that our clients are informed, and that they're making informed decisions about their mortgage financing, short and long-term goals, all of those things. And that is the purpose behind that. So then we do get to rate, but not until we decide on a program that's going to best fit their needs, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When you're talking to that consumer, we talk to them and we say, you've only been programmed to ask for rates and fees.
Right.
And that's okay. They are important, but there are more important things. And are there, can I ask you a few questions and take some notes so that we can identify what's truly important to you in this pre-approval or this refinance, and let's dissect that. And you as a coaching, as a coach and we're coaching our coaching clients and again our teams, we've got to get that flow. You got to sound confident on the phone. You've got to be practiced and exude confidence on the phone and not feel needy. That's one of the, you never want to discuss rate or fees until you've established that value. If you haven't established value or trust with them, especially on the phone, you're just going to sound like everyone else quoting rates and quoting fees down the street. And that's not what we're about here.
Exactly.
We have as a coach, what we have for our coaching clients and the scripting that we have through a system called, or a subscription called Mortgage Mastery, I am just blown away. I mean, there's so much material in there as a coaching client that you have access to. It's just
Yeah, it is amazing. And the thing is what you were talking about earlier with regard to price versus advice. It's also a mindset shift, I think, from being a vendor like everyone else to a consultant, to a partner, to someone who is a resource, a valued resource for you in making these decisions. So I think that, again, it's a mindset shift, again, which we talk a lot about in coaching, is that we want to shift your referral partner relationships from vendor to partner. And we want to shift, the perception of your clients from just another lender to a valuable resource.
Exactly.
Or a trusted resource, and better yet, a trusted resource, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when we're talking with our coaching clients and again, our own teams, we're talking about, when you're talking to that consumer, you need to be exhuming the fact that you're educating them. You're giving them value over the phone. It's always difficult. You're going to get that personality on the phone or maybe in front of you that they just want a rate. They just want a fee and they want to move on, and they feel, they feel annoyed sometimes. Yeah. And
it's the basis of their decision making.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And, some of the other things that we do as coaching clients is we help script our coaching clients on objections and how to get around them. And, really make the consumer feel that, we care. We care about your decision making on this. We're not here to sell you anything. We're here to educate you on the options, educate you on your decision, and ultimately it's your decision. Yeah. It's not ours as a lender. Right. It's yours.
It's yours. And, exactly. Yeah. So and I'm sorry. It's interesting that, when we had that conversation, and as you were talking, Janelle, it made me think about one of Todd's conversation that he talks a lot about knowing what you're going to say when somebody says, "Why you, Janelle? Why you?" Out of all of the lenders that I have available, all the rates are about the same. They're all, they all have the same same underwriting guidelines, the same process, the same, pull through. Why should I work with you as opposed to anybody else? And our coaching members have that answer.
Absolutely. They have that answer. Absolutely. I mean, our coaching members, our other coaches, our teams that we have, you have to exhume the fact that you're not taking care of that consumer just for this transaction. Oh, yes. I hate the word transaction.
Yes.
I want people to be saying, I'm taking care of you on this refinance, and I'm going to educate you through that, but I want to help you after that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to check in with you in a year from now and make sure the decision that we made on that refinance or that purchase a year ago is what makes sense for you again today and again the next year and maybe 3 years. If I don't know your goals 3 years out with your finances, are we making the right decision on this refinance? I mean, we are taking rate and fees so far out of the equation.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It's just a no-brainer. And, it's so rewarding to me when I get to talk to a coaching client or again, someone on my own team, that they circle back and they say, "Oh my gosh, Janelle, like it worked. Like these people love me now. This is something that made a difference." Yes. And how amazing. How amazing for everyone involved.
It is. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge that we have with our coaching members is to take that leap. To take that leap. And I think the way that we do that is by saying, okay, so what do you say now? What is your response now to this objection? And how's that working out for you? Right. And the answer is always, well, it's not working that well. I'm not converting. My conversion rate is, not very good at all. So, so their process of elimination is saying, I just have to have better rates. So they go to their manager and say, Janelle, we need better rates because I'm not getting loans. Right.
Yep. Or $350 off closing costs, right?
Right. Exactly. I remember when I was, when I was at Wells, and an LO would almost be ashamed to come and ask me for a rate adjustment, because they knew how I felt about it. And now and then, I mean, we're in an affluent market, and every now and then, we have to give a little to get a little, right? And so I gave them carte blanche. I said, look, if you need a quarter, you don't need to call me. Just do it. Just go ahead and lock it. I'm never going to have a problem with it. If I see it consistently on every single one of your transactions, then we might have a conversation, But, I mean, we just want to give them some latitude, because they are the owners of their business.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And, one other thing about the scripting that I wanted to bring up, again, that Todd said, and it was very powerful in my mind, and kind of, reinventing some things. But at that sales academy in 2019, we were talking about the price, shifting that to advice. And he was talking about the scripting, and, so many times our coaching clients and our teams, they look at these scripts that Todd has, and they think, oh, I can't say it that way. I can't, it's just not me. It doesn't feel good. And Todd said something in that sales academy about, you don't want to divert from the script too much. You really have to practice it, because there are some powerful words in those scripts that are trust words. Right. And that's exactly what he said. He said trust words.
Yes.
And I have never forgotten that since that, revisit through Sales Academy.
Right.
And there's some powerful trust words in those scripts.
Well, it strikes emotion, I think, and that's something that we always want to, be paying attention to, is connecting and striking emotion, which is, I believe, principle number 3 in the 5 principles of irrefutable principles that Todd wrote. And that is, and we want to strike emotion, and those words speak to the heart.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I think sometimes too, when we're talking to our, we're having our conversations with our coaching clients and teams, they're reading these scripts, and they're like, I don't want to role play. I don't want to practice this. It feels uncomfortable. But then when they get on the phone or they get in person with someone, it flows. And, I've, some of the scripts that, again, our coaching clients have access to through Mortgage Mastery, I've encouraged and challenged some of my coaching clients to keep a copy of them on their desk. And when they have that conversation with someone, a client, or even a referral partner that was uncomfortable, and it didn't seem to go very well, to debrief after that and look at the verbiage that you missed, because you missed something.
Yeah.
It didn't go well because you didn't practice enough. And it's amazing when we do circle back and we discuss that. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to realize, hey, I missed this phrase, or I missed this word, and that's why it didn't work.
Right. Exactly. So Janelle, I know you have several favorite scripts, and there's several of them they're your favorites because they work time over time. So you want to share a couple of your favorite scripts?
Absolutely. Okay.
Let's do it.
Probably the one, and again, we're going back to this rate, because rates are coming. I mean, anybody listening is thinking it's not, it's not going to happen. But the one that I really like, and I'm going to read it. And again, guys, because the reason I'm going to read this is because you need to not miss some of those power words. And this is, again, just rates and fees. There are really 2 ways to look at rates: quoted and real. Many lenders today will give you a quoted rate. It's not a real rate. We know that. It's credit score. It's all these other things. My goal is to educate you into making smart choices when selecting the right program and the right rate. The rate is one thing, but the program, huge. Through integrating the loan program and the rate into your overall financial strategy, I will then be able to provide you the overall lowest cost of borrowing. So, you're zooming again. I want to educate you. I want to educate you on your decision. It should not be about what's the best rate or what's the lowest fees. It's what's going to work for you and your family. And I know we've talked a lot about, it might seem like we're talking a lot about refinances, but all of our markets are seeing so many people getting pre-approved. I mean, there are just tons of offers coming in with low inventory in almost every market.
Everywhere.
And exactly. And people are, they're getting scared. They're like, oh my gosh, rates are going to go up. I got to get a house. I got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be educating our consumer.
And I think that's been, a big conversation recently with regard to, the client consultation. So the client consultation, the high trust interview with our borrower is designed to find out what's important to our client and their financing, choosing the right program to fit their long and short term goals. But I think also we have a responsibility as lenders to have the kind of educate our client on what the environment is out there right now as far as purchasing. Mm-hmm. And how we can best support them and advocate for them to win that offer, because there is a lot of competition to win that offer. And one of those things I think is, making sure that they know and understand that, kind of going through and saying, what are you prepared to do as far as writing a check, over market, because the appraisal will not come in, and most likely will not come in. And if it doesn't, are you prepared to write a check? And if so, for how much? 10,000, 25,000, 100,000, 300,000, what is your willingness, so that I can show you what that would actually look like in your financing. And then also I think it's important, Janelle, is asking them, who is your real estate agent?
Right.
Who is your buyer's agent that's representing you right now? I think that it's so important today, because the agents that are well-known and well-respected in their community it may make the difference between that offer getting accepted or that offer not getting accepted, all things being equal, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And, again, I mean, that's just leading us into a whole nother set of scripts when we start talking about referral partners. And, we go through with our coaching clients and helping them pair up with the appropriate referral partners that they feel good with, that they feel comfortable with, that their personalities match up. Mm-hmm. I mean, we want to work with referral partners that we work well together. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have stress leading into that too. Right. Most definitely. But
I think that's so important. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah. No. One other thing I want to you kind of said something that I want to touch on about, again, this shortage of inventory, and all of the loan officers are seeing, they're getting rushed to get pre-approvals out, and then the clients are just freaking out. And I think another thing that we can do in this industry to help bring value to our consumers that we're taking care of is, again, preparing them that there could be multiple offers, but also preparing them that between the time you've been pre-approved and the time that we're actually got a property and locking a rate, let's pretend the rates went up 0.5% during that time. Mm-hmm. And actually educating the member on, look, this is how much, in this case scenario, your payment's going to go up if the rates go up 0.5%. Mm-hmm. We set that expectation so that when they do get that offer finalized and the rate did go up, they're not freaking out. Mm-hmm. You told them back then. You educated them, and you brought value to their decision making. Mm-hmm. So thank you. I wanted to, that was a very good point.
That, because that's what happens when we start going through the different scenarios, is that, okay, let's assume you're going to get it at market value. Let's say we're going to pay $10,000 over, $25,000 over. That's what this financing is going to look like. And oh, by the way, between now and when you win your offer, it may be 3 weeks and maybe 3 months. And so you always want to be checking in with me on a regular basis as to where our market rates are right now. And let's assume, for purposes of this consultation, that rates have gone up 0.5. So we're going to give you a worst case scenario. So again, we want to make sure that you're making informed choices and saying, yeah, that still works for me. That still works. I'm still in the game. Right.
Right. Yeah. I think so many times, once we've done a proper high trust interview and evaluating, what is important to them about the mortgage, what's important to them. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's payment, and so then don't lose that. Keep identifying that through the process and letting them know, if you go $10,000 higher, this is what the payment's going to look like. So you eliminate any time down the road that becomes another objection. because the expectation was set.
Right. Exactly.
And, I mean, I, as far as the coaching clients and my own team right now, again, if our industry is not thinking that these rates are going to change, then you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
they're going to change.
Exactly. And and the thing is that, I mean, the thought process is normally, well, when rates change, then I'll shift over to purchase. But you may, as you said, may be behind the curve on calling your real estate agents and rebuilding those relationships. Why would you not be investing at least a portion of your time?
Absolutely.
Dedicated time, 2 hours a week, 2 face-to-face meetings a week with your referral partners. And speaking of our referral partners, I'm kind of thinking, and I'm getting feedback that our real estate agents aren't exactly having a lot of fun right now. They're exhausted. They're the ones advocating for their buyers and not winning the offer, and driving around and making another offer and doing everything they can to advocate and represent their buyer as best they can. And I think maybe one of the other things we should be doing is talking to our referral partners. How can we help you? How can we partner with you to help you win?
Right.
What more can we do, to help you win, and to maybe be a little more strategic about how we present offers, how we present our clients, and that type of thing, so that we can say to our community and to our prospective buyers, hey, we're winning 80% of our offers.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone that during these refinance booms, the lenders, we're dogging it. We're getting after it, but we cannot lose sight of our referral partners.
Yes.
We absolutely cannot. And again, another thing, if you're not circling with your referral partners and finding out what they need, you're behind the 8 ball. These refinances are not going to stick around.
As Todd would say, if you're not calling your clients and your partners, someone else is.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's all I needed to hear 20 years ago. I was like, okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Right.
So Janelle, we're coming up to the end.
Yeah.
And so I did want to kind of touch on one thing, and that is, you're fairly new, first year as a high trust coach, certainly not new to high trust, and certainly not new to the mortgage industry. Tell me, what would you say is probably the 1 or 2 things that's been the most valuable to you as coach, being a high trust coach?
It's really, it's been very impactful. It's been very humbling. It's been very humbling to do this. It's just something that I feel like I've taken full circle, even in my own career.
Yes.
To have come all the way back from where I started to now being able to share this with not only my team here in Iowa, but also, across the United States. And, and then, the other thing too, and maybe a lot of our coaching clients don't understand this, and this is a kudos to you, Hope. But I love that we do these coaching corners every other Friday. As a coaching client, your coach is meeting with other coaches every other Friday, and we're kind of doing a wrap,
right?
Like a wrap up.
Coaching the coaches.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love that we do that, and it's you kind of call it our continuing ed.
Yes, I do call it continuing ed, and that's why we're required to be on this calls.
Right. But I think our coaching clients need to know that we do that too, because it really is a matter I learned.
It's true. And it's something that we do internally with our faculty, right? And it's something that we're always bringing value to our coaches. We're doing the Coaches Corner every 2 weeks, and it is an opportunity to coach the coaches, and for the coaches to say, hey, I have a challenge here. What is the best way for me to help this client? Or I have a challenge here. What's the best way to help this client? And to really kind of keep ourselves in front of what it is that we're doing and the value that we're giving. One of the things that you just mentioned is about the humbling and how it's taken you full circle. And one of the things that I say about that piece is that whenever I'm talking to a coach is that, yes, you will be giving, but I promise you it will change your life. It will have a personal impact on you. And when you become a coach, it gives you meaning and fulfillment that you didn't know was possible. And so I think that, and we know that everybody has that experience. Every single one of my coaches has that experience. So I am looking for more coaches. And we're always continuing to grow. High Trust Coaching continues to grow. So if you feel as though you'd like to find out if you qualify to be a high trust coach, please contact me. Send an email to hope.gorman@hightrustcoaching.com. And I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for sending an email, and let's have that conversation. I think the last thing I want to do is maybe throw you a little bit of a curveball. Okay, are you ready?
No.
So complete this sentence for me, Janelle.
Yeah.
The key to success is?
Holding yourself accountable.
Very good. Great. Excellent. Holding yourself accountable, not someone else holding yourself accountable. I love that. I love that. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are we're right on time. We're at 9:29. So is there anything else you wanted to kind of say before we sign off, Janelle?
No, thank you for the opportunity to do this. And I don't know why I was stressed out.
It's fun, huh?
It was. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all you do for High Trust Coaching as well. And I know I'm speaking for all the other coaches, and it's just been a blast, and can't wait to see what happens, as we go on.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. So I do want to say a few hellos to Tracy Mock. Good morning. Good morning, David Montanez. Great to see you on the call. Good morning, Mr. Mike Lloyd. It's great to see you as always. And good morning to all of our Facebook users. On StreamYard, we don't always get to see who's on the stream. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.
Yeah. Thanks, Hope.
Thank you, kiddo.
Thanks, everyone.